I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
In 1979, a simulation was accidentally loaded onto a NORAD computer, and America thought Russia was attacking it, and we almost launched a nuclear counterattack, and the world almost ended. In 1983, solar flares tricked a Russian satellite into believing that America had launched 3 intercontinental missiles. One man had to make a choice, and if he had chosen wrong, the world would have ended. And though we survived these close calls, the end of the world may still be inevitable. Because if we don't destroy it by accident, then we'll likely still destroy it ourselves. We stand at the precipice of an apocalypse. The doomsday clock ticking away just 90 seconds until midnight. Climate change and war hang disastrously on the horizon. And you might find yourself stopping and asking, how did we get here? There seems to be a lot of blame to go around. We could look to the splitting of the atom or the making of the atomic bomb. We could think about all the wars and death that have littered history. All the people that wanted power and wanted to control others that we then granted their wish. We could think about the fear and anger and hatred that was used to get one group to attack another. But I think we would be missing the point entirely. I think we would be looking in the wrong place. Instead of looking at everything that we've done wrong, we might want to look at what is actually causing all of this in the first place. And if we're honest, it's clear that it all begins with our thoughts. The first step to the end of the world will come in the form of a thought. What that thought is, or what that thought will be, or whether it will be a singular thought or an apathetic majority, is all up for grabs. But it is the sad reality that we have become attached to our thoughts. We've begun to believe that our thoughts are things, allowing the feelings that arise from these thoughts to dictate our moods, our actions, and our beliefs. The more we begin to live a life attached to the mind and taking the thoughts we have as real to the world, the easier it is for us to see the world as a wicked place. The easier it is for people in power to turn us against one another, to cultivate an atmosphere of fear and anxiety or worry and horror, playing on the beliefs that we hold as true and using them for their own means. As long as we allow ourselves to be controlled by our thoughts, we allow ourselves to be controlled by others and to be controlled by the world. But here's the tricky thing. There is no controlling of your thoughts. Not all of them. You can control your focus. You can generate your own thoughts in the face of other thoughts. But in both of those cases, you're simply trying to attach yourself to thoughts that you think are right, which is all based on thoughts of what you think is right and wrong to begin with. And that brings us right back to the same problem, because those beliefs and ideas and thoughts are coming from the same place that you need to escape. So what is there to do? How do we stop what seems impossible to stop? I think we have to learn from Stanislav Petrov, the one man who, in 1983, sat still and did nothing when the radar and computers were telling him that the end of the world was beginning. There are moments that will decide our future, and possibly the future of all mankind, where our minds will be flooded with thoughts, with all the base instincts, with all the desire to take action or to do something. And what we really need to do is to let those thoughts pass, to take a step back and to not react, but to let things just be what they are, so that we can see things clearly and not from a point of a wild thought. It is sometimes in inaction that the greatest actions will occur. It is sometimes in doing nothing that the greatest somethings will happen. But we must be willing to allow it to happen. And the greatest hurdle to that comes to the second step we all take so often, which is attaching ourselves to the outside world, particularly to a sense of identity and pride of where we're born. The very tribal nature that aided our evolution and formation into people is likely going to destroy us. The need for us to identify ourselves by our culture, our race, our religion, has led to wars, slavery, and cruelty that defined generations and left marks on history. There's something romantic about patriotism, something admirable about nationalistic pride, at least on the surface. But what we attach ourselves to, we often lose ourselves in, until we cannot differentiate between who we truly are from where we're from, until our culture defines us more than our humanity. And when that becomes the case, any change to our culture is an attack on us. When we confuse our state or our religion or anything else for our true identity, we lose ourselves. And when we lose ourselves, we lose the piece of us that understands the unity we share with others. There cannot be peace with division. Division will always end in war. There cannot be salvation with separation. For when you hold the idea that one person is not worthy, then you hold the potential of you not being worthy. Until we learn to see that we are more interconnected than we are separate, that we are part of a tapestry of life, that we are all just waves in the cosmic ocean forming and crashing back into the universe, that things like country and culture and religion are stories and ideas that our egos form in a confused remnant from an earlier stasis of existence. Until we can let go and see the world for what it is and see ourselves for who we are, we will continue to fumble our way to extinction. Which brings us to the ultimate reason that the world is slowly but surely moving to its own destruction. We've confused this sense of self with who we truly are. For 5,000 years, Eastern cultures and thoughts have taught that the ego is nothing more than an illusion. Only in the last 20 years has science begun to confirm what Eastern philosophy has known all along. What we think about ourselves is nothing more than thoughts, ideas, beliefs, experiences, and stories. It has nothing to do with who we truly are or what we truly are. It has nothing to do with the truth of our identity. Instead, the thoughts that we allow to go wild become a product of who we think we are. The beliefs in our nation, our religion, our culture become a product of who we are. And thus, we become blind. Blind to the truth of our creation. Blind to the truth of our own existence. That we are not separate beings living separate lives. That we are not inconsequential to one another. That we're not separate beings inhabiting a planet, but we are a product of the very planet that we live on. Until we understand the truth, we will continue to live the lie. And there can never be peace in a lie. This isn't to be pessimistic, my friends. No, quite the opposite, in fact. Even though it can feel hopeless at some points, even though it can feel like we have left control of the world in the hands of idiots and madmen, it is not time to be pessimistic. Each day, people act in kindness and love. Each day, more good is done in the world than bad is done in the world. Each day, more love is had than anger is felt. Each day, we all have the opportunity to be the love that underlies all of existence. To act in kindness and forgiveness and understanding. The only way to save the world is to be the salvation. We cannot control whether or not some madman hits a button. We cannot control whether or not governments will take action to preserve our climate. But what we can control is how we listen to, care, and love one another. We can be kind, and we can be helpful. And if we do that, even if we don't save the whole world, maybe for a little while, we'll save the world for a few people. And if we can stop worrying about the things that we can't control, and instead work on being the living example of the things we can, then maybe, just maybe, we'll save the whole thing.